what makes a brand luxury? Well, quite a few things, to be honest, and I will talk about some of them in this video. So the very first thing we notice is aesthetics, the visuals. Imagine you walk into a store or you see something online or you enter a hotel room and it just feels luxurious. You cannot quite pin it down, but you know it's luxury. We take a mental snapshot and we can tell in a split second whether it's luxury or not. We can perhaps vaguely describe it, but then it would probably take some articulation to explain what precisely that is. And this is because it's a combination of things. So different colors, certain materials, dimensions, ratios, all of them combined, they create a certain look. So when creating a brand, there are certain principles you can follow to create a desired outcome. For example, if you enter the Savoy Hotel in London, there are certain materials, patterns, and spatial dimensions that they use that instantly gives this feel of luxurious existence, so to say. And they use them to evoke this grandiose feel. Then you come closer and you take an object in your hands, or if you're in a hotel room, you look at the furniture, at the finishing, at the details, and you notice small patterns, the materials that they use, and you can tell if it's well made. If, let's say, an object was made by hand, you already know that it received special attention and special care as opposed to mass-produced goods. It instantly increases the value of the object. For example, Hermes bags, they have a certain stitching that requires a high level of craftsmanship, and you can recognize if it's a real deal or if it's not. There is an Instagram account that I follow where a craftsman, a leather expert, tears apart leather goods from well-known brands and inspects the craftsmanship, the quality of the leather, also the finishing, and estimates how much does it cost to produce it. Of course, estimates vary. Not everyone agrees. Some people have their opinion. Nonetheless, it gives you a glimpse into how things are made. Now from craftsmanship, we move into the experiential dimension. Have you ever ordered something online that turned out to be a total flop? I guess we've all been, well, at least some of us have been in situations where you order something online or you book a hotel and it looks different than on pictures. Product not as described. A luxury brand ensures that you gasp in delight, not in dismay. That's why so many people buy from brands that they know will deliver, because they expect a certain quality and experience and they know it will be delivered. And this experience starts from the first steps of the customer journey and includes the digital experience, ordering, receiving a parcel if you are buying online, or your experience at the store, customer service. All that jazz comes into play when we're talking about luxury because it evokes a certain feel, and if one of those stages flops, then the whole experience is really affected. Some high street retailers can evoke that premium experience with their digital presence on their websites, but when you actually buy the goods, the experience is quite different. When you go into a premium store, you get attentive sellers. Of course, they work on commission, so they will treat you differently. If you go to a luxury store, most likely you will get a glass of champagne, not always, but it's possible. You don't necessarily have to be a luxury brand to evoke that luxury experience. You can just use some tactics from the luxury strategy to make your brand more desirable. I'll give you an example. I've ordered a pair of shoes from Bobby's. It's a French brand. It's a premium brand, but they still have a touch of luxury added to them. So this is a box, looking quite nice. The shoes are made in Spain, although it's a French brand. However, they seem to be good quality if you inspect the finishing, the stitching. So I'm quite happy with them. They look good quality. The unboxing itself was also a nice experience. They were neatly packed with a dust bag. The paper smells quite nice. So you can actually use these tactics in your brand strategy if you're going for premium. So these are the initial stages of the customer journey, but it doesn't end here. Now imagine you walk into a restaurant, you sit down, you order a glass of wine. If you know anything about wine tasting, you are aware that wine tastes better from a thin glass. So if you order wine by the glass, they will bring you one type of glass. If you order a bottle, they will bring you different glass. And then if you order, let's say, a 500-pound bottle of wine or a chateau, then they will bring you special glasses, which will make a wine taste even better. This selection of glassware has to do a lot with how we perceive the taste, because 80% of our taste comes from the aroma of the wine. And this aroma is enhanced by the shape of the glass and by its thinness. If you are drinking a rare collectible wine from an IKEA cup, it will actually kill the experience. It won't be the same. For the same reason, if you go to a pub, wine doesn't usually taste good. Well, of course, there are different types of pubs, especially here in London. You can find some high-end gastropubs, but they don't specialize in wine. It's more of a casual establishment. So this luxury experience comes not only from the visuals, but also from the five senses. So also think touch, kinesthetic, also audio, certain music we hear when we enter a store. So when all these five senses are incorporated in a subtle way, it produces a truly magical experience. And this experiential dimension delivers this luxurious feel. Okay, so you've tried the wine, so you wore the shoes, and you want to know what's behind the glam. You want to know more about the brand, who the founder is, what was his or her motivations, what actually gave birth to the brand, what fueled that passion. In the world of luxury, history isn't just remembered, it's elevated. We tend to glamorize history, especially founders, but it's important to have heroes, or at least someone to look up to. So legacy is important for a brand. If you are a new brand, then the story is still important. It's important how you came up with the idea and what's the story of the founder, because it can be very inspiring and also relatable. But one thing we need to remember is that brands, luxury brands, are not your friends. They are a bit more authoritative. So it's something to aspire to rather than be mates with. For example, I really love the story of Chanel. I know it's been overused and overexposed, but it really appeals to me because she was part of the big changes that were happening in the women's world at the time. And she represents that change, that independence, that drive forward. And she was also a business owner, which I find very appealing. And her strength and character inspires me. Whether she was a nice person or not, people say she wasn't, I try to take away the good qualities that I can adopt to my life. Or let's take her antagonist, Ella Schiaparelli. They didn't get on, and she represented a different lifestyle than Coco Chanel. She had bold designs, and people who wore her clothing, well, they were making bold statements. So she appealed to a different clientele, to the consumer who was not afraid to make bold statements. Then we move into the media, how the brand is perceived. And we will talk about advertising. Advertising is very important in the luxury market because it is done in a different way. You don't talk about prices, specs, or anything like that. You are selling a dream, so you need to evoke that feeling in the consumer. Luxury brands emphasize heritage, legacy, sophistication. Storytelling is very important, and luxury brands often create narratives, compelling narratives around their products. Also, they usually take minimalistic approach. When we are bombarded with so much information, luxury brands go the opposite direction. They actually don't explain anything. They just evoke a feeling with a single picture and maybe a single line that doesn't really mean anything, but it evokes an emotion. They let the product or the brand speak for themselves. Another very important thing is time. Why time is important in luxury? Well, two things. First of all is the time that it takes to make something and to get something. If we get something easily, it quickly loses its value. But if we have to wait, it actually elevates our experience and we treasure it more and it feels more special. How long do you have to wait for your Birkin bag? Or let's say the sold out products on the Louis Vuitton website. I actually read somewhere that if a product is sold out on the website, you need to refresh it and it comes back into stock and you need to buy it straight away so that you don't miss a chance. And I actually heard that one lady, she kept refreshing the page for a few hours and it finally got back in stock and she ordered it. Someone actually sacrificed a few hours of their life to get a product that was sold out. How mad is that? Now, the second component of time is longevity. How long will the product last? Will you be able to pass it down to your grandkids? Will it still be relevant and will it keep the same quality for years to come? I highly appreciate this fact because in nowadays society with consumerism, we really tend to dispose of things that are not needed anymore, and we just go through the cycle of getting rid of stuff. And I'm an advocate of getting few good things rather than splashing out on loads of stuff which you will throw away in a couple of years. Another important point is consistency. Consistency in your brand message. How consistent are you in your communications, your brand image, your visuals, your typography? As a new brand, of course, you can experiment. You will probably go through different stages, but at some point you need to decide what kind of elements will stay with your brand. Maybe not forever, but which elements will be incorporated so that they are associated with the brand. Then we must mention exclusivity. Why consumers choose a particular brand or product? Now, there are different consumer types, but exclusivity is really huge in the luxury market because it's like selling a ticket to a closed club, to a club that only the initiated belong. It's like a closed-off community, and you recognize your peers when you are out and about. It's like you are limiting access to that club. So rarity as well is important so that this brand is not too available. Otherwise, it just loses its value. So you really need to find that sweet spot between how much to produce and sell so that you are still commercially successful, but you're not too available. And of course, values. Luxury brands come under scrutiny, so you really need to be tuned in with your values and deliver that promise that you make to your customers. And also, values appeal to us. We find them important. A lot of businesses miss that, but values is something that will stay with your brand forever. And consumers will appreciate if you follow your values. And sometimes brands have to turn away some customers because the values of the brand and the customer don't match. Now, there are many more things that make a brand luxury. I only covered a few. I love sharing this type of content, and if there is anything else you'd like to learn about how to build luxury brands, let me know in the comments. I've also set up a new Facebook group where I will be doing exclusive trainings. Link in the description box, where you can also download my luxury brand roadmap. Thanks for watching. Bye.